Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Deviana Gayatri. I'm from Department of Clinical Pharmacy, Faculty of Pharmacy, Universitas Airlangga, Surabaya. And today I will presenting my paper about profile of diabetes mellitus therapy in COVID-19 patient with diabetes mellitus as comorbid in Kogab Wilhan 2 Emergency Hospital, Surabaya. There are some outline for today's presentation. We will begin from introduction, aims of the study, methods, results, and conclusion. Introduction. COVID-19 as well known as an infection disease caused by SARS-CoV-2 that increasing rapidly in various countries just in a short time and was declared as pandemic on March 11 by World Health Organization. And data of COVID-19 cases as August 2nd, 2021. For the global data, it almost reached 200 million positive cases with almost 4,500,000 dead case. In Indonesia, there are 3,040,000 positive cases with almost 100,000 of dead cases. And in East Java, there are almost 350,000 positive cases with almost 25,000 dead cases. Diabetes mellitus is one of the most common comorbidities that found in COVID-19 patient with a prevalence of 14 to 32% that varies in several studies. And the prevalence of diabetes mellitus in COVID-19 patient cases in Indonesia as of August 2021 is 37.7%. Diabetes mellitus known that can increase the severity of clinical symptom and mortality rate in COVID-19 patient. From the data of the Chinese Center for Disease Prevention and Control, or CDC China, mortality rate of the non-diabetic mellitus group was 2.3%, and there are an increase to 7.3% in COVID-19 patient with diabetes mellitus. Aims of the study is to analyze the profile of diabetes mellitus therapy, patient characteristic, length of hospital stay, and clinical symptom in COVID-19 patient with diabetes mellitus. Methods of the study. For the study design is a cross-sectional analytic design. Period of study. The study was enrolled in May until December 2020. And the setting of the study is in Kogab Wilhan 2 Emergency Hospital, Surabaya. Sample of the study is the patient that was diagnosed COVID-19 who met the study inclusion criteria, including men or woman age 18 years or above, has diagnosed with COVID-19, had comorbid diabetes mellitus with or without other comorbidities, and currently receiving diabetes mellitus therapy. There are 106 patients that met the study inclusion criteria. And later, the patient demographic data, clinical characteristic, therapy profile, and length of hospital stay were analyzed descriptively and presented as table or graphs. All the statistical analysis was performed using SPSS version 25. The study has obtained an ethics statement from the Health Research Ethics Committee of the Faculty of Medicine Universitas Airlangga, Surabaya, based on certificate of ethical eligibility with the number as shown in this presentation. The next slide is the result of the study. The first result is about the profile of diabetes mellitus therapy of the patient. It was found that the monotherapy use was glimepiride 2 milligram that used by 32 patients, followed by metformin 500 milligram that used by 12 patients, and followed by metformin 850 milligram that used only by 2 patients. The most widely used combination therapy of 2 oral antidiabetic was combination of metformin 500 milligram and glimepiride 2 milligram that used by 14 patients in the study. And there are combination therapy of fast-acting insulin and basal insulin that was used by 11 patients. There are some recent studies that state about the use of antidiabetic therapy in COVID-19 patients with diabetes mellitus. The first author is Chen et al. The results state that mortality rate in metformin group was lower than in the non-metformin group, 9.3 versus 19.5%, with p-value 0.19, which is not significant. And the next studies by Luo et al. The result is stated that mortality rate in metformin group was significantly lower than in the non-metformin group, with presentation 2.9% versus 12.3%, with p-value is less than 0.05. And the next study by Sardu et al. Stated that level of interleukin 6 and D-dimer was significantly higher in the non-insulin group than in the insulin group, with the p-value less than 0.01. This table shows us about the recommendation related to the use of antidiabetic therapy in COVID-19 with diabetes mellitus. The next result is about the patient characteristic. There were 106 patients, consist of 58 women and 48 men, and all patients in the study were diagnosed as having non-insulin dependent diabetes mellitus. The youngest patient in the study was 28 years old, and the most geriatric patient was 71 years old. The highest proportion was found in 46 and 55-year age group, as many as 48 people. The proportion of female patients was more significant in this study. This result doesn't match with several research results that stated that male population is tend to be more susceptible to have COVID-19 infection. Recent study that showed that the higher ACE2 receptor expression in men is thought to be the leading cause of the male group being more susceptible to infection by SARS-CoV-2. Patient characteristic based on the body mass index characteristic, the highest number of patients was found in the obesity class 1, which consists of 47 people. And this finding indicate that obese patients experience more COVID-19 symptoms compared to other body mass index group. The results of other study indicate that the overweight and obese patients have 13 and 25 greater risk of being infected with COVID-19. Similar result was also obtained in a study but that conduct in Ramati Body Hospital, Thailand, that the result showed that the risk of pneumonia increased in direct proportion to the increase in body mass index. There are some factors that maybe increase the risk of obesity patient to infected by COVID-19. There are such as respiratory physiological change in obese individual. And then in obese patient, they tend to have higher level of pro-inflammatory cytokines such as tumor necrosis factor, MCP1, and interleukin-6, which are mainly produced from adipose tissue that also contributes to the emergence of impaired innate immunity. The next slide. The table is about the length of hospital stay of our patient. Based on the length of hospital stay, it's known that the most of patients in this study with the comorbid diabetes mellitus were hospitalized for 6 to 10 days, consisting of 17 asymptomatic patients and 35 patients with mild symptoms. The study results are in accordance with the result of study conducted by S.U. et al. That state the average length of hospitalization was 8 days for the non-symptom group and 10 days for the mild symptom group. The next result is about the distribution of clinical symptoms in our patient. Based on the degree of control of diabetes mellitus, there was 17 patients with controlled DM and 47 patients with uncontrolled DM. This result showed that patients in the uncontrolled diabetes mellitus group experienced clinical symptoms more significant than in the controlled DM group. It was accordance with the recent study that stated about patient with well-controlled type 2 diabetes mellitus had a lower need for medical intervention during hospitalization and had fewer fatal complications compared to the people with poor metabolic control. There are some mechanisms that relate to diabetes mellitus increase the risk of severity and death rate of COVID-19, which is hyperglycemia, dysregulation of immune response, and increased level of urine. The next result is about the correlation between symptoms categories and the length of day and the length of stay in the COVID-19 patient. From this graph, we can state that the more severe symptoms of the COVID-19, the longer the length of hospital stay and vice versa. The next result is about the difference on median length of hospital stay in sample group versus population in the study. We used the Mann-Whitney test to find the difference between the median length hospital stay between the sample group and the population, and the p-value was less than 0.05. That can stated that the diabetes mellitus affect the length of hospital stay significantly in patient COVID-19 in this study. The next graph is about the distribution based on patient distribution based on the correlation between median speed of the decline in fasting blood glucose and the length of hospital stay. We use the Spearman rank analysis, and it can be stated that the faster the reduction of the fasting blood glucose is achieved, the shorter the length of hospital stay would be. These results are in line with the data found in a retrospective study by Bode et al., where the loss of patient with diabetes mellitus or uncontrolled hyperglycemia was 6.2 days, longer than the loss of patient without diabetes or hyperglycemia, which was only for 5 days. This data indicate that good glycemic control is needed to shorten the length of hospital stay. The next table is about the patient characteristic. It's the same with the previous slide. And here we come to the conclusion. Based on the results in the study, authors conclude that the more severe symptoms of COVID-19, the longer the length of hospital stay. Diabetes mellitus affect the length of hospital stay significantly in COVID-19 patients in the study. The faster the reduction of fasting blood glucose level is achieved, the shorter the length of hospital stays would be in the study. The treatment of diabetes mellitus in the study had not achieved the expected therapeutic outcomes, and further research is needed to obtain optimal diabetes mellitus management in COVID-19 patients in the future. Thank you. I think that's all of my presentation. Thank you.